welcome.
It's great to be in Iowa right now. There's nowhere better to be in America. If you are into current events, you care about our country, you care about this process, all eyes are in Iowa. And there's just a few weeks left. And people like me from across this country are standing on your shoulders. This moment couldn't possibly be any more important for the future of this republic. I was thinking about life and the different years of our country and moments in time with highs and lows. And I was thinking just before COVID hit, late 2019, early 2020, man, the border was getting secure more and more by the day, and our nation, energy independent, becoming stronger and stronger by the day. Policies were smart. Our economic policies resulting in prosperity for people who hadn't felt good times for too long. Our foreign policy was one where we weren't watching new conflicts starting overseas. We were ending conflicts overseas. President Trump had a decision, one that he is proud of, needing to make the call to take a bold and smart decision, whether it was wiping out the ISIS caliphate, taking out the head of the IRGC, ramping up the Abraham Accords. Man, times were good not that long ago. We live in the greatest country in the history of the world. I believe that American exceptionalism is something that none of us should ever apologize for. Man, how quickly things have changed. As soon as Joe Biden gets to office, on the first day that he is there, he stops construction of the border wall. He ramps up catch and release. He gets rid of the Remain in Mexico policy. He gets rid of Title 42. He attacks our Customs and Border Patrol agents. An open border by design. As soon as he gets into office, and he was handed over the playbook for how to secure our border. And it wasn't just about people coming across. It was about things, fentanyl killing young Americans. How quickly things change. This is a country that is worth fighting and dying for. I still serve in the Army Reserve. Wesley Hunt, who will be here, he has a military background and his family that he's proud of. I'd be willing to give up my life in defense of this country in a moment. We have law enforcement willing to give up their lives for their community in a moment. We have people who believe in service. The reason why this is the greatest country in the history of the world is not because Joe Biden's the president of the United States. It's because of decades and generations of men and women who served, willing to give up their life in defense of this nation. It is generations who made this possible. And how quickly this president, this administration has given so much of it away. August 2021, we watched these images coming out of Afghanistan. Embarrassing. Seeing Air Force aircraft going down the runway. The video, knowing that our equipment was getting turned over into the hands of the Taliban, that after all of this sacrifice, lost lives, lost limbs, that you're going to execute such a fatally flawed withdrawal that would just so quickly turn over the country to the Taliban and turn 13 Blue Star families into Gold Star families. And to do it at a moment when Russia is watching because they want to go in Ukraine. And China's watching because they want to go into Taiwan. And North Korea wants to ramp up the new test firing of missiles. And Iran wants to ramp up uranium enrichment. Adversaries looking at our country and seeing this weak underbelly, at the highest levels of our country, only emboldening them. Instead of having a period where we're seeing conflicts eliminated, we're living through a moment where adversaries are stepping up to challenge the United States in ways that they would never dare to during the Trump administration. We just take what's going on right now in Israel. When I was in Congress serving with President Trump, I remember being in Israel for the opening of a new embassy after it was moved from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, and recognizing Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights, and signing the Taylor Force Act into law, and withdrawing from the fatally flawed Iran nuclear deal, and yes, the Abraham Accords, and more. There was a period where once again we were treating our friends as our friends and our adversaries as our adversaries. See, because during Barack Obama's time in office, we treated Israel like Iran and Iran like Israel. We had it right. Again, I want to go back. That's the best way for us to go forward, is going back to the policies that have our nation strong with energy policy. The policies that have more and more Americans every single day finding just a little bit more comfort, not less. The trajectory our nation was on just before COVID hit. That's the way forward. And it's only months away. November will come here so fast. But the pathway to the future runs through Iowa on January 15th. All eyes are on all of you. And I feel really good in my faith and belief that you all understand the gravity of the moment, the stakes, and you're ready to do your part. I believe that the 45th President of the United States will get sworn in January of 2025 as the 47th President of the United States. Yeah. I'm committed to doing my part to make sure that happens. And we have these competitive primaries, and it's important that as quickly as possible, after Iowa puts out an emphatic, hopefully, fingers crossed, an emphatic, big statement win for President Trump, that soon thereafter, we can move forward to what is most important to saving this republic, and that is defeating Joe Biden and winning back the presidency. Right. United. Whoever else is out there, if you come around the day after the Iowa caucus, listen, we might have had a disagreement over who the best candidate is, but we, as Americans, need to unite as much and as fast as possible in order to be able to save this country. Amen. And the way that a movement, momentum that we're looking for, the energy to have that faith, that trust that creates truly a red wave, a red tsunami, is going to be based on what we stand for. And we know the policies that President Trump believes in because we've lived them. How many Americans are out there, even people who didn't even vote for him in 2020, saying that they missed the policies? Joe Biden comes into office, and on the first day that he is there, he stops the Keystone XL pipeline project while fast-tracking Nord Stream 2 to help Russia transport natural gas. I come from a state in New York where they are working overtime. These Democratic policies in action, which you see in a blue state like New York, may be coming to a state capital or a nation's capital before you know. So in New York right now, they have banned the safe extraction of natural gas. They do not allow, they just got rid of, it's a law that you will not be able to hook up to gas in new construction. They will not approve new pipelines. They just signed a new statewide regulation to ban the sale of gas-powered vehicles.
Wow.
Are you kidding me?
No.
That's coming into place in New York. They signed it this past year to go into effect a few years down the road.
Congestion pricing in New
Congestion
York.
pricing is something that's being implemented right now in New York. And they celebrate it. They'll do a press conference bragging on creating a new tax to make life in New York harder. You have prosecutors who refuse to prosecute, like the district attorney Alvin Bragg in Manhattan. I said when I was running for office for governor last year, that on day one, as soon as I get in office, my first act, right after getting sworn into office, will be to turn to the Manhattan District Attorney, Alvin Bragg, to let him know that he's being fired.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was a campaign based off of ideas of what we would do differently to be able to save a state, and the policies that you see there. These policies are the people who right now are in the leadership positions for the Democrats. Chuck Schumer, the Senate Majority Leader from New York. Hakeem Jeffries wants to be the next Speaker of the House from New York, AOC. And they're running a show in Albany. New York is a big agriculture state. And you see them attacking farmers because of some advocacy that they might receive, some uninformed advocacy that they'll receive for crazy new environmental policy, for example, that doesn't even get vetted out. It just gets rushed and passed. New overtime rules that end up actually resulting in less jobs. It results in farmers having to shut their doors, an estate tax, having to process how that estate tax gets paid. I care about our country, as you do, or you wouldn't be here.
That's right.
I care about our future. And I think it's great how many young patriots are here, participating in this process. How old are you? You won't be 18 by January 15th. You will.
In like 8 days.
In 8 days. So this is what a way to kick off your. So we need people to show up on January 15th. We don't know what the weather is going to be like that night. It only takes an hour of your time.
We don't care.
Even if you come across somebody,
We'll be there.
there's no excuse.
That's right.
But here's the
That's
thing. You'll show up. You're here.
Right.
But there's people in our lives who will look for any excuse not to make it out to vote. Somebody might tell you, well, I'm not even registered to vote. Well, come on down. We'll get you registered. Because same-day registration, as you all know, exists here in the state. People might not know where to vote. We should help them in making sure that they get the information, that they're paying attention to the Iowa GOP website, understanding that maybe their caucus location is not the same site as where they're used to voting. We certainly need to make sure that people know where to show up on caucus night. And people need to understand that it is our duty, it is our responsibility to show up and cast our vote. You can't expect all of you to be carrying that load of fighting a good fight on behalf of everyone else. We need to get everybody out. We need caucus captains to sign up. And hopefully, if you haven't signed up yet and you're interested, you're willing to sign up tonight. And we're getting more people registered. Volunteering to knock on doors, to be able to make phone calls, no matter where they are in the state. Heck, people can volunteer even if they live across a state border. Get involved wherever your network is, wherever your family and friends are across America. We need everyone involved. I'm here in Iowa today because there's nowhere more important for me to be than in Iowa today. And my daughters, they'll be old enough to vote just in time. They're 17 now. And what that next generation is inheriting from people who are in elected office, who lack the courage to lead, the wisdom to lead smartly. I feel like we owe it to a generation that isn't even old enough to vote to make sure that this next November, that when we go to sleep on election night, that we don't go to sleep with any regret, that maybe we should have worked a little bit harder. Maybe we took anything for granted. Maybe we stopped working before the last ballot was cast. Maybe we stopped working until that last ballot is counted. It is important for all of us to do everything in our power everywhere, taking absolutely nothing for granted. The way that we will carry the day November of 2024 is working hard, all in, campaigning as a team across this country, up and down this ballot. There'll come a day when primaries are over, and there's a lot of friends who you have who will have candidates who will come in some other place other than first. Come on, the water's warm. We have a country to save. And thirdly, the way that we carry the day is not by what we are against, by what we are for. It's important to outline contrast. There's a lot that's wrong with Joe Biden's term in office. But ultimately, I'll tell you, in 2016, in my district, the East End of Long Island, a district that Barack Obama won in 2008 and 2012. Donald Trump in 2016 won that district by over 12.5 points. It was a massive swing. Why did that happen? Well, yes, there was an element of it in my district where people disliked Hillary Clinton. And they had their reasons. They had really good reasons. But I'll tell you what, people who weren't that engaged in politics, they were talking about why we needed to build a wall and drain a swamp. They were talking about repealing Obamacare and stopping Common Core. They were talking about specific issues. People who hadn't even voted in years, and they knew what Donald Trump wanted to do if given the chance to serve. The most important slogan to be earned when elected: promises made, promises kept. You go to voters in 2016 and say, if you support my candidate, this is what he is offering. This is what he is pledging to do. It's a bit of a leap of faith. You hope that this candidate that you poured your trust in will deliver on those promises that led you to put your neck out on behalf of them. How good does it feel that now you can talk in support of a candidate who on all of these policies has already proven he will obsess over delivering on them all day, every day, fighting for all of us. They'll throw everything out at him. Alvin Bragg indicted him in a state where no district attorney has, as far as I know, ever indicted on a federal a federal finance violation, campaign finance violation. I don't believe that's ever happened. And it's not just about Republicans who could see right through it. Americans know that this is a political prosecution. They see it from the Department of Justice. They see it inside of Fulton County. There is a president who is blocking them from having maximum power. And they will do everything that they possibly can to try to tear him down, to try to distract him. But I'll tell you, the time that I have spent with him of recent, I have never seen him more on his game, more ready for this fight that is in front of him. He understands the stakes and he is ready to lead. He'll be more ready to lead on day one in January of 2025 than even day one in January of 2017. He is ready to hit the ground running, fighting for us, fighting for parents, fighting for taxpayers, fighting for people who care about our country, our flag, our freedom, our liberty, fighting for our military and our law enforcement, for safe streets, for prosperity, for freedom. I thank all of you for stepping up and helping President Trump here in this fight in Iowa. I thank you as an American. I'm not here thanking you as a Republican. I'm not here thanking you as a friend of President Trump, because ultimately, this isn't about any one person. This is about a nation at a crossroads. And we're reminded every single day, this crossroads that we're at. And we know our cause and our purpose for being here tonight. We know our cause and purpose for doing everything in our power between now and January 15th. We know our cause, our purpose, when we wake up the next morning, January 16th, to make sure that when we go to sleep on November 2024 on election night, we will have not only done everything in our power to save this republic, but we will have done everything in our power successfully to save this republic, get it back on track, and again, make this great nation a nation that undoubtedly, for all of us, we know, is on a path towards light, liberty, exceptionalism. One that is respected more than ever before. And when we think about the days, the years, the months in our lifetime, where we've seen America at different points, we will say never has our country been stronger than it was when we gave President Trump that second term in office to make America great again. Thank you so much for everything. Please get involved in the match. I know you all. Let's get more people involved. Let's go out and win and see this great nation. God bless all of you. And now I get to introduce an amazing member of Congress, a great patriot, someone who is no stranger to Iowa. You probably have mentioned come across it, I don't know how many times. He's been in this state maybe 8 times during this campaign.
He married an
Iowan.
Iowan.
An Iowa family. How smart is Wesley? Without any further ado, the amazing freshman congressman, the up-and-comer, the rising star from Texas, Wesley Hunt.
Good job, ladies.